Residual Hauntings revived, out of the dungeon. We are at Salt City Steamfest with the Gin Rebellion. Joining me right now, great kind of... So what would you guys classify your genre, your music as?
Well, in short, I would say it's retro folk fusion. The long of it, we try to take style... Our influences are based off of musical styles played between like late 1800s to even up to the 1940s, even just around the world, because the way we see steampunk is that there'd be a higher level of globalization, and it wouldn't really be all that surprising to hear a waltz played, I don't know, with a banjo or like some kind of Eastern European sort of flavor to it or something like that.
So now how'd you guys meet?
Well, it started with you two.
Yeah. Well, Renfield and I started and formed about 3 years ago just as a musical collective, trying to figure out what we wanted to get our sound to be. We played a few conventions, mainly Steampunk World's Fair, and then we were introduced to Ophelia by a mutual friend, and she introduced a few songs she'd been working on. We all chimed in, figured out we had some pretty good chemistry, and from there we've been playing ever since.
Awesome. So now... Did you guys set out to do kind of the steampunk kind of thing? Is that what your whole initial goal was?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Now, are you seeing that there is more and more of this kind of genre coming into play? Because I've been noticing a lot more increase in that type of music.
I think it's mostly that people are recognizing these bands as they're coming out, as opposed to them being just thrown back into the woodwork. And the fact that there's an actual community, people are able to exchange their ideas quicker.
Oh.
I know that some of it is just because steampunk has become more popular, and I think a lot of people identify with the particular issues that were within the steampunk world. I mean, steampunk is in some ways a modern reimagining of the Victorian era, and a lot of things like, well, sexism and racism are glossed over, not because we're ignoring them, but we want a world where that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And we are just sort of blending ourselves into that world. It's a fantasy. And I really do think that steampunk can change the world, but we do what we can to be a part of it, I suppose.
So I love your costuming. You are, well done. Some of the best costumes I've seen. All three of you have done a great job. So now, where do you think steampunk's going to go from here as far as costuming goes? Because steampunk isn't really new. It's new as in popularity, but it's been around since the 1970s. So where do you think we're going to go?
Brighter, bolder, and crazier is where I'm planning on going.
I'm all for it as well. So where can people find your stuff?
Well, we have our album. We just debuted it this weekend at Salt City Steamfest. We will also have the album online soon on our Bandcamp site that you can find us at theginrebellion.com or on Facebook if you search The Gin Rebellion, and we should have a link up soon for our album.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Out of the dungeon, Residual Hauntings revived right here, Salt City Steamfest with the Gin Rebellion.